Today on CityCast Philly, Culture Fest happens this weekend at the Penn Museum. This month celebrates diverse women artists and creatives in our region. Our arts and culture contributor, Charles Tyson Jr., is here with me to talk about one artist who's carrying a traditional Indian prayer dance forward. It's Thursday, March 9th, 2023. I'm Trenae Nuri, and here's what Philly's talking about. Okay, Charles, tell me about Culture Fest. I've actually never heard of this one.
Neither have I, actually. It was a very cool thing that showed
great.
up on my calendar because a good friend is performing. And I was like, wow, this is a fabulous event. It's through the Penn Museum, and it is a celebration of the artistic power and creative diversity of women artists and visionaries from around the world. And there's going to be all forms of artistic expression. There's going to be live music. There's going to be live dancing, even a drag queen story hour. There's going to be pottery and crafts making. There's going to be all different kinds of creative and expression, all coming from a celebration of the feminine.
Got it. And, you sat down with yet another Philly legend. Tell us about Madhusmita Bohra.
Madhusmita, or as she is known to all of us affectionately, Madhu, is a great friend. And she is the director of the Kshatriya Dance Company. I met her, I believe it was 2013 or 14, during the Etc. Performance Series, which is a series that I produced at the Community Education Center in University City. And I remember her application came across my desk, and the words that jumped out to me were traditional Indian prayer dance, first women to perform in the United States. I didn't need to read past that. I was like, yes, we want this.
Yeah.
And she gives me credit as being the first one to give her a stage to present this work in the States and in Philadelphia. And so, that's something that I am proud of and take to heart. Kshatriya it's very powerful. It is 600 years old. Mm-hmm. And it comes from, it was originally and traditionally performed and practiced by the celibate monks in the Hindu monasteries in Assam, which is a little island in the northeast corner of India. And it was always done by and for male bodies. So women performing and practicing Kshatriya is very new. Within the past 40 years was it even an idea that anyone other than the monks could perform it. And only in the past 20-something years that, it's becoming a wide-known thing that women are practitioners of this ancient prayer dance.
It's an oral tradition which was handed down from one generation to the next. So, these are tradition bearers, and women only had sort of access to it and started embracing it somewhere. Initially, like the first few practitioners were, one or two of them came in the 1970s, but like 2000 is really when women were embraced into the fold.
Yeah, that really stood out to me. Women recently embracing this dance. Like, how big of a deal is that? What is it like for her to now carry this tradition?
It's a very big deal. She is considered an ambassador, not only to India, but these monks. She is an ambassador around the world of this tradition that was very insular for so long. And she has brought performances of Kshatriya to audiences around the world now, starting from Philadelphia, starting from the little stage at the CEC. She has branched out. She did a wonderful performance at the Art Museum. She got a huge grant. She brought the monks from Assam to the States and presented a performance for an audience at the art museum, and that was spectacular, including several of her own personal teachers. She's brought Hatria to New York and the Library of Congress, London, like everywhere. I'm so proud of her. Her and her partner Perona, who are the main members of Hatria Dance Company, they are driving forces, and they are shining examples of women being powerful and taking on the mantle of something that is so storied and historic and carrying it forward in a way that is very dynamic and just striking to see. I'm so proud of them.
It's very nuanced, and I often think about what it's like to carry this tradition, which mostly lived in male bodies, male celibate bodies, and as a woman of the world, privileged woman at that, right? Like, what is it like to carry this tradition forward? And don't get me wrong, I mean, the dance itself is really gender fluid because the monks would dress up as women to perform some of the pieces, right? And then there's like this role reversal now where women dress up in the male costume to perform some of the more like rigorous and masculine pieces. So there's this constant tug and pull. And, I'm also right now processing what it's like, not just, an art form that lived in male bodies, but young male bodies, right? And I'm getting there in age. So how do I navigate that? How do I navigate that in my, rickety bones and carry this tradition forward?
Charles, Madhu's dance company, like you said, has traveled around the world, around the country, has received grants and awards. How has she been received in Philly?
Philly loves Madhu and Hatria. Over the past 10 years, I'd say, you can't go too long and too far without seeing their picture on some billboard promoting some Philadelphia institution that is having a performance. The Barnes, like I said, the Art Museum, so many different places. I'm seeing her as an ambassador, a representative throughout Philadelphia. I love that for her. I love that for her because she works so hard in trying to get this dance form seen by people. She said she performed anywhere and everywhere that would have them, in cafeterias and auditoriums, just trying to get the form seen, and it's paying off. And she talks about her rickety bones. If you see Madhu perform, there is nothing rickety about what she brings.
And I was just thinking about that. Can you just kind of describe what this style of dance looks like?
It's very theatrical, as with a lot of traditional Indian dance. The face and facial expressions and the eyes especially are very important in telling the story. There's also it's very gestural with the hands and percussive. And there is usually an element of vocal, like either singing or poetic text. It's very striking and, like I said, theatrical and dramatic. And each piece takes you on a journey because each piece is typically like a story. So, you're taken on the journey of the story through a beginning, a middle, and an end. And every time Madhu is such a sweet, soft-spoken person, but when she performs,
it's different.
She's like 8 feet tall and ferocious.
I love that. Okay, so what can festival goers expect on Saturday?
It's a day-long festival, and you can take part in the festivities as part of a regular museum admission ticket. There is the Women's Shekere Ensemble, a West African traditional music troupe, all women, which excites me. There's live pottery throwing demonstrations. There's printmaking. Hatria, of course, is going to be performing. There's going to be a drag queen story time hosted by award-winning musical drag performer Eric Jaffe, who's going to be doing an inspiring tale for the kids. The Marian Anderson Museum and the Sister Cities Choral Performance are going to be performing some wonderful vocal pieces. There's going to be a whole day of all kinds of art. Verve Dance Performance is one to catch as well. Lauren Grenendahl, a good friend of mine, her choreography is going to be presented. There's going to be a little something for everyone. And again, the overall thread is the creative energy and passion that comes from celebrating women and femininity, which I love.
That's CityCast Philly arts and culture contributor Charles Tyson Jr. Charles, thanks so much for bringing this story to us and for joining me today on CityCast Philly.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
If you want more information about Madu's performance and about Culture Fest, we'll have a link in the show notes. And here's what else Philly's talking about. Mastery's Simon Gratz High School and Gratz Prep Middle School is shut down after an inspection found damaged asbestos. NBC 10 reports that school district officials were doing a re-inspection, which happens every 3 years. This marks the second school closure in recent weeks because of asbestos. Students from Building 21 were relocated to Strawberry Mansion High School after asbestos was found in the auditorium. President Joe Biden will be at a Northeast Philly Union Hall today to roll out his budget proposal. According to the Philadelphia Inquirer, the president is expected to pitch a tax increase on people earning more than $400,000 and to cut the federal budget deficits. The last time Biden came into town was last month to discuss his infrastructure bill. It's time for the tip of the day, where we share a life hack for living in Philly. There's recently been some ATM skimming devices found in stores across Montgomery County. That's according to KYW News. Conshohocken police say a card reader was located internally and a small camera was placed above the keypad to get the PIN numbers of users. Police say check for suspicious items near the keypad or where the card is inserted. And it's always best practice to cover the keypad with your hand while you punch in your PIN number. If you have a tip of the day, we'd love to hear from you. Call or text us at 215-259-8170. That's all for today here on CityCast Philly. If you enjoyed the show, tell a friend, rate the show, leave us a review, and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to sign up for our morning newsletter too. It's called Hey Philly. We'll be back tomorrow morning with the Friday News Roundup. Bye. There's recently been some ATM skimming. Skimming. Okay.